Hello, I am Miss Nookie, love goddess and creator of Get Your Goddess. I just wanted to come on live for a few minutes to talk a little bit more about relationships and the process of dating. And one of the main parts of dating that you should be aware of, and if you're not doing this could be the reason why you're not feeling successful. This can be the reason why you feel like you may be taken advantage of. I want to talk about setting boundaries. Boundaries are very important in relationships because boundaries can help retain a sense of identity and personal space within relationships. Now, you're trying to think to yourself, well, what are these things? What kind of boundaries do I need? Well, the boundaries, they can be simple, such as setting up in the beginning, on the first date, setting up things like clarify what your communication style is. Some people, like me, I'm a chatterbox. I'm going to give it to you all. Any questions that you ask, I'm going to give you complete answers. Instantly, immediately. I think very quick off my feet. Some people, they may need time to mull things over. Some people actually may be better with texting, even though I do think that that's more of a digital age thing where people don't know how to formulate sentences and don't want to speak up. I mean, if you're trying to get into a relationship, eventually you and the person are going to be together face to face. So there shouldn't be too much texting. It should be more, face to face. What is your communication style? Some people need to think things over before they answer a question. Some people honestly aren't used to being asked any questions other than the, when's your birthday? How many siblings do you have? What's your favorite color? Because that's what most of us do because we don't know how to date. Another boundary, what are your personal space requirements? Are you the type of person who you're an extroverted introvert? Where there are times when you want to be outside and you don't mind being around people. And then there are times when you just feel like you need to be alone. Explain that to your date. Let them know that if I say I need some time, it doesn't necessarily have to be anything negative. It could just mean I just need a few moments to myself to regroup because this is what I'm used to. So think about that. And if you are the receiver of this kind of message, you have to allow people to feel what they feel and say what they say. One of the problems that many of us have is when someone tells us something, we say, oh, you can't be that way. That doesn't make sense. That's because you can't relate. But that's why compassion is so important in relationships as well. You have to be compassionate. You have to be compassionate. You have to be empathetic. Try to put yourself in that person's shoes. We all have history. We all have our own ways of coping. And the way that someone copes is not really your place to tell them whether it's right or wrong, because it's what has worked for them. In essence, we know ourselves. We know what works and we know what doesn't work. So that's a boundary. Allowing someone to tell you how you should feel. And then you feeling bad, like, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't feel this way. No, you are the owner of your feelings and you can feel whatever way you feel like. That's what you truly need to understand. Now, on the first date, the other thing that you may want to do, talk about future dates. Don't leave that hanging in the balance. And be honest with each other. If the date isn't working out, then just say, you know what? I don't think this connection is going to work. It was nice, spending time with you, but I don't want to take this any further. That's the mature thing to do. We don't need any of, let's meet up 2 days from now and then you go ghost. We don't go ghost anymore. We are grown people. We use our words and we let people down in a nice and effective manner. Okay? We don't go ghost on people. Another thing that you can do to set a boundary on the first date are your expectations. Let someone know exactly what you want. And a way to do that, a question that you can ask to find out this information if you're not sure how to get to this conversation about boundary setting, simply ask a person, what is important to you in a relationship? Simple question. And listen to what they say. Truly listen. If you hear something that you don't like, don't say to yourself, oh, that'll change. Most often than not, it won't. It definitely won't. Now, other signs of healthy relationship boundaries are expecting others to communicate during disagreements with maturity. No yelling and shouting. We're mature. We're not doing that anymore. We are learning how to cope with ourselves. And this is why self-love is so important in relationships. Whether you're male, female, however you identify. When you truly love yourself, you can stand up for yourself in a respectful manner, without yelling, without cursing. You can even just get up and walk away sometimes. Because there are those people out there that will push you. They will push you to see how you cope with certain things. That happened to me in one of my relationships before I started to set boundaries and truly learn about what it takes and what it means to have a mature, fruitful relationship. He egged me on. He egged me on to start cursing at him and just blowing up. And then he looked at me and laughed and said, at least I know you're not the type to throw hands. And me, stupid, silly me, I stayed. I just looked at him and said, don't you ever freaking test me like that again. Had I known then what I know now, that relationship would have ended right then and there. That's not how you build a relationship. That's not how you build closeness with someone, by constantly testing them to see what their reactions are. That is not healthy. That is toxic. Don't let anyone do it to you. Don't ever let anyone do it to you. Another boundary, healthy boundary to create in your relationship is, voicing your concerns rather than holding on to resentment. Hello, Elite DMV, Elite Fridays, DMV, wagwan. But yes, voicing your concerns rather than holding on to resentment during relationships. When something comes that you don't like, address it immediately. Don't let it sit in your gut and fester, because all that is going to do is make you blow up later and make you cause more of a disagreement, more of conflict. Hey, Prince. Wagwan, purple God. You see me having purple, right? But whenever anything comes to your mind that you don't like in a relationship, address it in the moment. Address it at an appropriate moment. Me, myself, I'm not the type to argue in public. I'm not going to embarrass our union by having other people know that we're not getting along with something. I'll save it for when we're in the car or for when we get home. But I will address it within 24 hours of whatever happens. I no longer hold on to anything. I no longer hold on to anything that I'm not comfortable with. And I feel so much better and happier for it. If I'm dating someone and what they say and their actions aren't in alignment, they have to go. And I'll let them know. I'll let them know that, this connection, it's not working out for me. I don't believe that our values are in alignment. Your actions and your words, they're not on the same page. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to let you go and I'm going to have to move on. And I wish you the best in your hopes to find love. Part of the problem is, especially with us women, we meet who we believe is that perfect guy. And in the beginning, that representative shows up, and we do it too. That representative show up, that person that answers all of your questions perfectly. They check that box. They start talking about, soulmates and they start talking about what their dreams are, and their dreams are in alignment with yours. But as you get to that 60, that 30 day, that 60, that 90 day mark, it starts to disappear. That facade that they had. Think about it in terms of a job. When you get hired for a job, there's always a probationary period. Because in that interview, you are that superhuman. You're that superhuman. You're going to be that super employee that fulfills all of their needs. Because that's what you do in interviews. You kind of over-exaggerate what your qualities are to get the job. And the job, yes, you can be very convincing in that interview that you can do everything and go above and beyond. But then you have that probationary period, that 90 days where they watch you work and see if your words in that interview match those actions for the first 90 days. And either you did it or you didn't. So that's how you have to look at relationships, and that's how you have to look at dating. That first date, that's that interview where they're going to be on their best behavior. You're not going to see any of their negative qualities. And like I said, ladies, we do it too. We become, oh, I cook, I clean, I take care of children, I work, I do all of these things. Then after a while, that facade falls away from you too, ladies. But the difference is, as ladies, when we see that facade fall away, all those promises that men made, because many of us are desperate to be in a relationship, we stick around. We done told everybody that we're in love and we met the one, and we don't want to look embarrassed by saying, oh, it didn't work out. No, we're not doing that anymore. There is no embarrassment in choosing you. There is no embarrassment in seeing those red flags and saying, nope, not going to do it. You know why? Because you can end up spending 6 months, a year, 2, 3 years with this person, and they look at you and say, you know what? I don't think this is working. And you know how many good, decent men you could have missed out on in that time that you were waiting for this person to show you, to act on the words that they said when you first met? These are the things that we need to stop doing. And these are why we need to have these boundaries. This is why we need to have self-love first. Because when you love yourself at a certain level, no one can come to you with any bullshit that you're going to turn into ice cream and eat that and eat it up. No one can do that to you when you love yourself. No one can do that to you when you know what boundaries you need to set. And a way to start thinking about these boundaries, think about all of the bad aspects of the relationships that you have had. All of the craziness that happened that you said, nope, it'll never happen again. And that's how you can begin to develop your boundaries, ladies. That's how it starts. Okay? Just really think about that. When you go on a date, I need you to start dating differently. Because the old way that you did, all the dating that you did in the past, it didn't work out. That's why you're still dating. And that's why it's time to date differently. Now, if you enjoyed this conversation, if you enjoyed this live and you want to work with me, then you need to join my Get Your Goddess program. My Get Your Goddess program, it is the program for you. It is the program that will help you get to that level where it's easier to drop someone. It's easier to know whether or not someone is truly invested. So if you like what you heard here and you want to work with me, simply send me a message and say, I'm ready. That's all it takes. Send me a message to join my Get Your Goddess program. It is a program for women who are career-oriented and self-aware, and it'll help you build that self-love. I give you dating tips. I give you different types of advice. You get to have one-on-one consultations for me. And it's a 9-month transformation to birthing a new you, so that you can find that love that you deserve, that relationship that you deserve, that marriage that you crave. Miss Nookie is here for you. All you have to do is DM me, I'm ready. And let's go. Have a good one.